you give me that information? They gave it to me, I filed it, I sent it in. I waited a week and I called up and said, I'm just calling to follow up on the lost check procedure. They said, yeah, we can't talk to you about that. Why not? Because once it goes into that department, they handle it. I said, well, let me talk to somebody over there. No, you can't talk to that department. Okay, how long do I have to wait? Well, it can take 6 months to 2 years, you know, if somebody's stolen your check and it goes to court and everything. So, you know, they'll contact you. So I hung up the phone and I wrote, Dear President Clinton. I'm not kidding you.
And he wasn't even president yet.
Yes, he was. I'm a taxpayer, this is what happened, and I wrote the entire thing out. I said, look, I'm just a taxpayer, I filed my taxes, I'm required to send it, return receipt requested, to prove that I filed my taxes, because if I ever get audited and say I sent it in, and they say they didn't get it, I can be fined. Why isn't the IRS held to the same standard? And that was the end of it. And then I said, P.S. To whoever is reading this, I know you're not president.
You're not president.
I know he's too busy. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for allowing me to vent. I really appreciate it. And I signed my name and I sent it off.
Say hi, Hillary.
Now I'm living with Bob Prang at the time, the other Dr. Christmas. We had just moved to LA. And we went off to one of the Christmas stores we were decorating. And all of a sudden the phone rings and they said, Debbie, the phone's for you. I said, the phone can't be for me. Nobody knows I'm here. I mean, I had a boyfriend at the time, but he's not going to be calling me. Who's calling? It's the IRS. So I picked up the phone. I said, hello. And he said, Ms. Darren, this is Mr. So-and-so with the IRS. I said, yes, what can I do for you? He said, I'm calling to say I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
Now, at this point, I said,
And the alarm clock goes on.
this is Mr. So-and-so with the IRS, yes. And you're calling to say you're sorry to me, yes. Well, now all my fellow employees start gathering around because now it's become a thing, because now I'm projecting, now I'm doing the theater.
Yeah.
I said, so you're apologizing? He said, yes. We're very sorry, you know, we're sorry we couldn't give you the information. We'll be sending you a check in the mail. I had a check the next day. I had my refund check in the next day. So
Nice.
I said, well, thank you very much. He said, yes, so I'm sorry that, you know, da, 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 da.
Wow.
I said, so you're calling to say you're sorry that you didn't give me any information on the phone and that you gave me this hard time. So I just repeated
Yeah.
everything.
Right.
And I have employees
keep it
around me
clear.
just eating this up. And I said, well, I want to thank you for calling to apologize. I really appreciate that. So I hung up and everybody's like, what went on? And I told them the whole story. I said, number one, I was honest. Number two, I wrote the president. Number three, I addressed the person who was actually reading the stupid letter. I knew it wasn't the
That's a good
president.
idea.
Yeah.
And I had a check and I had an apology from the IRS of the United
That's
States.
awesome.
And she ran for senator right after that.
Where did you send it to?
I sent
White
it to
House?
President Clinton, the White House,
The White
Washington,
House.
D.C. And I sent it return receipt I sent a return receipt requested, and I got a signature. Obviously, it wasn't Bill Clinton, but it was a signature from the
Right,
IRS.
right.
Absolutely.
Wow.
She sent one to Santa Claus at the North Pole.
Yeah. Should keep that. Bring that. That's great. That's great. See, look, this is what happens.
But
Really scare people.
but it's
Well,
true.
it
You
can-
know,
I think that should be something you do professionally because that you're onto something. You know, professional negotiator, professional, you know.
Well, I learned from the best person. My mother used to write letters. My mother bought wheat thins one time, and she picked one up, and there was a wheat thin, and then there was another wheat thin hanging from it, connected by a human hair. So she wrote them. We got a case of
You don't
wheat
know
of
that.
Nabisco products. Another time, my father. This is when yogurts were just coming out. Light and Lively yogurt, which is totally pureed and has no pieces of fruit in it. My father ate peach yogurt, and he bit into a peach pit and he chipped a tooth. So they wrote them. A man came to our house in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, and brought a refrigerated case with him that had one of every kind of Light and Lively yogurt, and he showed us the new lines they were coming out with, and he gave us like
And they do
100
that.
coupons, and this is when they took care of you.
And a pair of dentures.
My second year in college, my professor
Wow.
in business
That's
said,
awesome.
you're all gonna write a letter, you've all gotta figure this out, what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Who you're gonna write a letter to, and you're gonna get a response. And so I had a beautiful cream colored, members only,
Oh,
Blazer.
Yeah, that's what the.
corduroy blazer.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but it was too small for me. And so I took a Bic pen and put it in the pocket and broke it. And leaked all over it. And I sent that blazer with the pen to Bic. And I wrote a letter and said, this is my best blazer. I just started college and I don't have any more, I don't have any, you know, a nice thing to wear anymore. And I only use Bic pens. And Bic pens sent me a year's supply of
Of course they
pens
did.
for school.
Of course they
and a
did.
check for $50 for my blazer.
Wow. Oh my God.
Based on a
That's
lie.
Yeah, I
All based on
They
a
do not.
lie.
Based on a lie.
On a gay man lie.
And he's sending this video to Bill.
There you go.
I'm sending it to Switzerland.
Okay. So one day I'm working on a movie set, and I have craft services. They called lunch break, and as I walked by, I picked up peanut M&Ms, and I bit into one, and I chipped a tooth.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, that's what I get for eating on the way to lunch. I shouldn't have done that. So I went home, and I used to live in Hackettstown, New Jersey, which is the international headquarters for M&M Mars. So I knew about M&M because my dad used to get donate. You shouldn't put this on tape because M&M doesn't want anybody to know this. M&M does all kinds of donations, but they don't want anybody to know because then everybody would be hitting them up for it. But they would donate all kinds of money for for the VFW and the Knights of Columbus and that kind of stuff. But I wrote to M&M and I said, I'm really sorry to write this. I used to live in Hackettstown and I went through the whole thing. I bit into a peanut M&M. I have here's the peanut.
Here's my tooth.
Here's the tooth.
Here's
I had
my
to chip it.
size.
I had to go to the dentist and I had to get a crown. I don't know if you can do anything for me. They wrote me back. They sent me a 3-page disclaimer that I had to sign. I had to sign a contract saying I would never tell anybody about this.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Essentially, and they said send us the dental bill, and they paid for my crown that I had.
Wow.
Wow.
They are a stand-up company. I love them.
Yeah.
You gotta just take the initiative, but it was.
wait,
You just have
someone at the
to,
door.
but it
Do
helps
it.
if you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But my teacher made me do it. I got an A
For lying,
for lying. Yeah.
Well, do companies still do that today?
I think people
they send coupons and things like
I
that.
think people just think the
Coupons. You
company
can get
just
all
want
kinds of
things to go away.
You can get